This is Jason Clement with Hanwha Vision America, and this is part 2 of our NVIDIA Jetson with WAVE and CVEDIA AI plugin. Last video we got into the camera, got the camera configured, got the operating system configured on the Jetson, it got WAVE up and running, added streams and got them recording and licensed. In this part we will go over the CVEDIA plugin, how to add the cameras, what AI analytics you can utilize, and how they function within WAVE. This slide is just a reminder that this is a platform. It is the camera portion that is running the WISE AI analytics on board the camera, and then the NVIDIA Jetson, which is a full Linux operating system running, in this case, WAVE and CVEDIA AI plugin. You can see the other partners that we're working with to deploy this out at the edge on these cameras. This here is just a review of how the setup is. If you need a refresher on this, you can go back to part 1 of the video, which will be in the link below. This slide just gives a visual representation of what a typical deployment works like. So we would have a standard camera, we would have an NVR. We do have NVRs that can run the CVEDIA plugin as well, connected to the network, and then clients would log in, view the video, and configure the system that way. In this case, we've taken that server and we've put it out at the edge on the camera. So in this case, we can take up to 12 additional channels, the 4 on the camera itself, and 12 additional video streams. They can be single channel cameras like shown here. You could add other multi-sensors to it. It's just going to be an additional 12 channels of video. WAVE AI plugin can do basic object detection paired with other analytics like intrusion detection, area, enter, exit, loitering, etc. These are basic analytics. These are not going to give you analytics like our in our P-series AI cameras where you get attributes and things like that. It's really good for basic object detection for person, vehicle, or animal, and then being able to pair it with an enter, exit, cross line, or intrusion area. So let's jump into this and see how it's configured. Now let's go over the configuration of the plugin. You do need to be logged into the WAVE client in order to be able to configure it. There are 2 spots where you configure it. If you right click, go to System Administration, go to Plugins, you have your WAVE AI plugin. The only thing that you probably ever need to get out of here is the version number. They may tell you to change some of these things if you're working with support, but in general you don't want to mess with any of these settings. So you can just leave these as default. Next, we're going to choose the camera that we want to run these analytics on. So I'm going to drag this one in. This is our Innovation Center in Houston, Texas. And you can see there's already some analytics configured on this camera. This is our Economy Series 1080p camera. So if we right click, it has no AI on it. Go to Camera Settings. Go to plugins. We have the analytics plugin. This is just our basic stuff that's on board the camera, and then you have WAVE AI, which is using the CVEDIA plugin. Again, you have the version number, so you can actually get that from here. You don't even need to go into the system administration portion. And then the licensing. This is where you're going to take the license that they provide you, and you're going to assign that key here. Do not try to do it back in system administration. Licenses. So if you go to licenses, it looks the same, but if you try to activate that license through here, it will fail. You need to activate the WAVE AI plugins under the actual plugin for the camera. Now, it doesn't have to be assigned to this camera. It just basically needs to be applied underneath one of the cameras. Preferably one that's using it, but if I had multiple cameras I wanted to do, I could apply those licenses here, and it's just going to go by however many channels that you turn it on for. So once you get your licenses activated, you can also activate a free trial license, which is good for 30 days for 4 streams, so you can test it out, see if it's going to be good for yourself or the end user or whoever you're working with to utilize this. Now, going under the configuration, if we look at our different analytics here, I'm not going to go through all of these. We have a full guide explaining how to set this up, though, which will be in a link in the description below. But intrusion detection is basically if an object is moving around in that zone. So we're going to give this a name here. So we'll call this video test. We're going to add it onto the video, and we'll go ahead and choose Hanwha orange here. And we're going to draw a big box around this refrigerator. We're going to click OK, and we're going to say anytime there's a person or an animal on there, go ahead and trigger an intrusion event on this camera. And I want you to display this box on there as well. Now you see that there's an unknown here. Don't check that unless you're trying to do something very specific and tech support is telling you to check that. It will just cause a lot of misdetections because it is essentially just using kind of any pixel movement to try to trigger on some type of object. So in general, just don't touch it. Just leave it unchecked. We'll go ahead and apply it, click OK, and now we can see it's displayed here. You don't have to display this for it to work. It's just some customers like this displayed on there so they can see where their analytics are configured. Let's go back to camera settings and plug in, and we can turn that off if we want to, or turn it off to display on the video. And then area enter exit is basically going to be if a person enters or exits this area. Now this one might be a little bit small. I would make it bigger because it's got to be able to detect the object and then see the object inside the zone. So a person standing in front of the refrigerator, if you make the zone too small, it might not catch them because they might kind of be standing off to the side or something. So there, I just made that a little bit bigger just so it has a better chance of catching somebody. Click OK. Go to loitering. This is going to be if somebody is hanging around too long in a particular area. Again, we'll do Hanwha orange. Draw our area, and you can see you can make complex shapes here. Okay, and we'll say, hey, if somebody's hanging around here for 60 seconds, which would be a minute, trigger a loitering alert. Crowding, you'll be able to draw an area and say, hey, in this case, if there's 21 or more people in this little area, trigger a crowding event. Tailgating is going to be if two objects cross a line within so many seconds. So this is essentially when you have a camera that's watching an access control door and somebody reads their card, they open the door up, they go in, somebody comes right behind them, does not read their card like they're supposed to, and just goes right in the door. Could be an employee, could be somebody just trying to get inside there to do something nefarious. So this works pretty good if you're just trying to do some like basic tailgating. Line crossing is pretty self-explanatory. You draw a line. If they cross the line, going one way or the other. So in this case, if they're going out the door, essentially, it's going to trigger that line cross for you. Again, the guide covers a lot more information in detail. If you want to go through that, the link will be in the description below. Come out of there. So now that we have these configured, what can we do with it? Well, we can just go back and search on basic object detection. So if you go to your object pane in WAVE here we can see all the people that it's detected. The track age is basically how long they were in the scene for. So in this case, this person was here for 25.4 seconds, and you can see it kind of tracking that time that they were in there. So if you're trying to find an event and you know that somebody was in that scene for a long time, maybe doing some damage or something like that, you could just look at the track age and kind of see how long those objects have been in there and try to find your event. You can see other search filters here, so I could say, hey, just show me any time there was a person right by this door in that area, which is pretty much anybody that's going to go through there. You can say what plugin you want to use. In this case, it's the WAVE AI. And here we can say, show me any type of object that you can detect. Obviously here it's just going to be person because hopefully there's no vehicles driving through there. Then you can clear those filters. You can also use the time filter. So if I go down here and I say, all right, I know the object was between certain time frame here, only show me hits during that time. So if you know the time, you can quickly go in here. I'm going to say cameras on layout, and I know that person went through this area and it was a person. So you can quickly go through and just narrow down your search utilizing all of these filters here. Now, what can we do with this? Let's say we want to alert somebody when a person is loitering in this area for too long. We can right click, go to camera rules, go ahead and add a new rule, go to analytics event, and we're going to click here. We're going to search for that camera if we have a lot of cameras in the system to find it quickly, and this is our camera that we've been utilizing. Now we're going to say, what do we want to trigger off of? So it's going to pull in the Hanwha analytics that are on board the camera, and then here's our WAVE AI analytics. So we talked about the loitering. So we'll do a loitering, and then there's a lot of different actions that you can do through here. I'll hit some of the highlights that people usually use. Bookmark will allow you to bookmark that event, put in custom tags to go back and search for later. Sending mobile notification is basically a push notification through Wave Sync to anybody that has the app or anybody that you've put in here that has the Wave Sync app and are logged into the system. Desktop notification is if you have a guard that's watching the video or at least has it up and running. Desktop notification would pop up and say, hey, there's an event here, you might want to look at it. That's typically paired with playing a sound. So you can have it pop up, you can have it play a sound to get somebody's attention so that they're like, oh, I need to actually review this and see if we need to respond to it. So you just have to add multiple rules into that if that's what you wanted to do. You can also at any time utilize the Wave Help. Just click on the Help, go to your actions here, and you can see supported events and actions. And this will actually list out all of them and exactly what they do and how to configure them. So it's just a nice little built-in help file that helps you guide you through the system. So that's everything on the CVEDIA plugin. Thanks for watching and have a great day.